Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So as you can see here, this is my brother's old gaming PC. I built it 3 years ago for basic gaming purposes, and honestly I didn't do a great job, and the specs are decent. A Ryzen 3, 16 gigs of RAM and a 1650 Super. So overall not too bad of a build, but it only has a 1TB hard drive for a boot drive and this cheap 500 watt power supply, which was honestly the cheapest new power supply I could find at the time. So I'm thinking of doing an overhaul for this system. So yeah, let's begin. Starting off with the parts, we have the CPU. This is a Ryzen 7 2700X. With 8 cores and 16 threads, it should prove a decent upgrade over our Ryzen 3 with the price of 150 Aussie dollars, which granted is not the best deal, but it's still a pretty great chip in my opinion. So for our memory, we have a 16 gig kit of DDR4 clocked at 3200 MHz. It looks gorgeous, and at 60 Aussie dollars, I think it's a pretty fair price for one of these. So I cheaped out a bit on the boot drive. I got this Kingston 240GB SSD for 400k Vietnam Dong. It's not the snappiest by any means, but should prove a decent upgrade over that old hard drive. Also got these cheap Cool Moon RGB fans to spice up the build. They're pretty standard, but should do a great job at cooling the system and looking good. So this power supply is confusing, because the NA version of this is really good, but I got the Chinese version. It's 80 plus gold for around 50 Aussie dollars, so I can't complain, but it's obvious to see like the Chinese features, like this weird looking grill right here, and this full watts guaranteed sticker. It's still a pretty good price, and for a decent unit, I can't complain, you know. For the cooler, we have a Vetru V5. Now this is one of the cheapest coolers on the market at 50 Aussie dollars while offering insane performance. The 2700X is a chip that runs incredibly hot, but this thing keeps it at under 50 degrees consistently, and you'll see that later in the benchmarks. 2.1 million Vietnam Dong, I got my brother this 5600 XT. His old 1650 Super is still pretty good, but this card just stomps it in every way, having better performance than a 2060 and the same amount of VRAM, which is amazing value in my opinion. So my brother's into Gundam and like Gunpla building and all that, so I got him this cheap Gundam case from Shopee. It's only 500k VND or 22 USD, and it looks pretty good, I'd say. The building was a bit annoying, but here's the finished product. So I really like how this turned out, and so did my brother. The white just encompasses everything so well, and that RGB just gives it a little bit more spice than, you know, I originally intended. The cable management needs work obviously, but for $450 for this entire system, I can't really complain much. With all that said and done, let's move on to the benchmarks and see what this system can do. So the games tested today, Genshin, Overwatch, Fortnite, Apex, and Spider-Man, those weren't too intensive games, but those are the games my brother plays. And yeah, I still want to talk about the performance a little bit before we end on this video. So Genshin is by far the easiest title to run today. It suffers from micro freezes outside of the main activities, which leads to a low 0.1% low metric. But overall, still an amazing experience and max settings. Oh, Fortnite. What do I even say about this? The game is still terribly optimized. The stuttering has improved, as in like it doesn't stutter as much anymore. The performance metrics on the system are great, the game runs pretty smooth, but still needs work, I'd say. So last game I want to talk about is Spider-Man Remastered. So for a game that involves a lot of web swinging around different environments, of course the frame rate is going to suffer, and that shows in the 0.1% low metric of 22. However, the game runs really smooth without performance dips, and I think it's a great feat that this system has managed to accomplish on its lower budget. And that's it. That should be the end of the video for us today. It's a bit of a shorter video, so I'm sorry about that, guys. But I don't have my ideal setup here in Vietnam. I just set up parts from that old PC I showed at the beginning, and it's now my current editing rig, gaming rig, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna set it up as sort of like a higher-end office PC. But yeah, that's unrelated. So I got this temporary setup working, and I wanted to make a video on my brother's new PC, which I built using parts that I got from all over Australia and Vietnam, and I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, to those who are still here, and I hope you'll have a nice day or night wherever you are, and hope to see you all around for my future content.